You've been running your whole life, chasing success, chasing love, chasing freedom, and yet, the faster you run, the further it all seems to slip away. Bob Proctor once said, "You don't attract things into your life by wishing for them. You draw them in by becoming the kind of person who has them." That's the paradox nobody told you. It's not about chasing harder, it's about becoming different. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because only then will you feel the release, the moment you finally understand how to stop chasing and start attracting. You've been running after money, running after recognition, running after freedom, running after love. And no matter how fast you run, the finish line never seems to get closer. You tell yourself, if I just work harder, if I hustle longer, if I sacrifice more, maybe then finally I'll get there. But the truth is, you're stuck in the same loop as millions of others, living a life of chasing. The ordinary world of the hero, a life of running. Let me paint you a picture. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet hit the ground, your mind is already sprinting. What do I need to do today? Who do I need to impress? How much closer am I to my goals? You scroll through your phone, see the polished lives of others, and feel that gnawing hunger inside. I'm not there yet. I need to push harder. At work, you say yes to tasks you don't believe in. You over-deliver, hoping someone will finally notice you, reward you, elevate you. You drink coffee like it's gasoline because your energy is borrowed, not earned. You check your bank account, not enough. You check your body in the mirror, not enough. You check your relationships, not enough. No matter how much you chase, the prize always runs faster. The loop of chasing. Here's the cruel pattern. 1, you see what you want. 2, you believe it's outside of you. 3, you run after it. 4, the more you run, the more you affirm that you don't have it. 5, and the more you affirm you don't have it, the further away it seems. And so the loop tightens day after day. The harder you chase, the emptier you feel. The emptier you feel, the harder you chase. It is a treadmill with no off switch, and you're sprinting barefoot. Ethan's story. The chase for money. Take Ethan. A man in his late 30s, smart, ambitious, full of potential. Every morning he tells himself, if I just earn a little more, then I'll finally feel free. He works 10, 12, 14 hours. Promotions come, raises come, but peace never comes. At night he lies awake, spreadsheets running in his mind like nightmares on repeat. He calculates, he plans, he strategizes. His body is in bed, but his soul is still running. And no matter how much money flows in, it flows out just as fast. Because deep down, Ethan never became the kind of man who feels wealthy. He's still the boy who believes money is scarce, so no number ever feels like enough. Ethan isn't building wealth, he's chasing it. And wealth, like a mirage, keeps moving further into the desert. Maya's story. The chase for love. Then there's Maya, late 20s, beautiful, kind, successful by most measures. But she is always chasing love. She texts first. She gives too much. She bends her boundaries just to be chosen. She tells herself, if I prove I'm valuable, if I prove I can be everything they want, then they'll stay. And for a while, it works. People come close, but soon they leave. Not because Maya isn't worthy, but because she's chasing, broadcasting to the universe the signal, I don't have love yet. And that signal repels exactly what she longs for. Maya isn't attracting love, she's chasing it. And love runs faster than she can. The taste of emptiness. You've felt it too, haven't you? That bitter taste at the end of a long day when you've given everything and gained nothing. When you've run all day, only to find yourself standing exactly where you started. The taste of emptiness. The realization that no amount of wishing, grinding, or begging seems to close the gap. That's when despair creeps in. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not meant for more. Maybe this is just life. But deep down, something refuses to die. A whisper inside you says, there has to be another way. The hidden cost of chasing. Chasing doesn't just exhaust you, It breaks you. It breaks your body with sleepless nights and endless stress. It breaks your mind with doubt, anxiety, comparison. It breaks your spirit with the constant reminder that what you want is not yet yours. Chasing is expensive, and the price is your soul. The irony is painful. The more you chase, the further away the dream feels, and the further away it feels, the more you chase. This is not ambition, this is slavery, the hero's first glimpse of truth. But every hero's journey begins with a crack in the illusion. Maybe it's Ethan realizing that no bonus can fill the void. Maybe it's Maya noticing that the harder she clings, the lonelier she becomes. Maybe it's you, staring in the mirror, wondering why success still feels like failure. In that crack, light begins to leak through, and you begin to suspect the truth. Maybe the problem isn't what you're chasing. Maybe the problem is chasing itself, the restlessness of the soul. That's why you can't sleep. That's why you feel anxious. That's why your heart beats faster when you think of the future. Not because you aren't worthy, not because you're broken, but because your soul knows that chasing will never work. Your soul is restless because it knows what you've forgotten. You weren't meant to chase life. You were meant to attract it. But here's the paradox, the twist in the story that most people never discover. Attraction doesn't happen when you beg or wish or grind. It happens when you become. The edge of revelation. Bob Proctor said it simply. You don't attract things into your life by wishing for them. You draw them in by becoming the kind of person who has them. And this is the edge of your revelation. The loop of chasing has brought you to exhaustion. But exhaustion is not the end. It is the invitation. The moment the hero realizes the old path is broken and a new one must be found. You are standing at the threshold. The world you've known, the world of chasing, is collapsing. And before you lies a door to something radically different, but you must step through. The setup for transformation. This is where the hero's journey truly begins, not with comfort, not with certainty, but with crisis. Ethan faces his numbers and admits, this will never be enough. Maya stares at her reflection and whispers, I can't keep running after love. And you, watching this now, feel the ache in your chest. I can't keep chasing my life like this. The chase has broken you open, and in that breaking lies the seed of transformation, because only when you see the futility of chasing can you finally hear the call to become. Every great story has a moment when the hero hears a call. Sometimes it's a whisper, sometimes it's a roar, sometimes it's disguised as failure, heartbreak, exhaustion, but always it comes when the old way has broken. And right now, that call is in front of you. The moment of the call. You've seen where chasing leads, exhaustion, emptiness, the treadmill of not enough. You've tasted the bitterness of running harder and harder only to stay in the same place. And here is the paradox. Chasing louder will not bring you closer. In fact, it pushes what you want further away. So the call comes, not to chase more, but to become different. Bob Proctor put it in words that cut like a blade. You don't attract things into your life by wishing for them. You draw them in by becoming the kind of person who has them. This is not motivation. This is a law, the paradox that changes everything. Think about it. A person chasing love communicates lack. A person who embodies love draws others in. A person chasing money communicates scarcity. A person who already lives in wealth consciousness sees opportunities everywhere. A person chasing respect communicates insecurity. A person who stands in their own authority attracts respect without asking. Do you see the paradox? The more you chase, the more you affirm you don't have. The moment you become, attraction begins. It feels unfair at first. Why do those who don't chase seem to receive? Why do those who relax into their power seem to get more? It's not unfair, it's alignment. Ethan at the crossroads. Ethan, the man who chased money, stands at his desk late at night. Numbers blur on the screen. He whispers, "This isn't working." For the first time, instead of calculating, he pauses. He asks himself, who would I be if I already had the wealth I want? That question stops him cold, because he realizes he has been chasing wealth but living like a man of scarcity. His thoughts are scarcity, his emotions are fear, his actions are desperation. No matter how much he earns, he will never feel wealthy until he becomes the man who is wealthy now. This is his call, to stop running and start embodying. Maya at the mirror. Maya, the woman chasing love, looks at her phone. Another message unanswered, another promise broken, another night alone. Her instinct is to chase, send another text, prove her worth. But something stops her. She hears the whisper of truth. You will never be chosen until you choose yourself. She looks in the mirror, really looks, and asks, what does a woman who is loved act like, speak like, feel like? She realizes she has been begging for love, not embodying it. She has been broadcasting loneliness, not radiance. Her call is clear, to stop proving and start becoming. The hero's choice. Every hero faces this moment. The world offers two roads. One, stay in the old pattern. Keep chasing, keep hustling, keep begging. Stay in the comfort of exhaustion. Two, step into the unknown. Stop chasing, start becoming. Align thought, feeling, and action with the life already chosen. The first road is familiar but deadly. The second is terrifying but alive. And the call is asking you, which will you choose? The law of alignment. Here is the truth that sets you free. Attraction is not magic, it is alignment. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions line up with the life you want, you create resonance. Life recognizes you. Opportunities flow, people appear, doors open. Not because you forced them, but because you became the person who belongs in that reality. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you're on the wrong frequency, you hear only static. You can twist the dial harder, scream at the radio, shake it, it doesn't matter. You'll only get noise. But the moment you tune into the right frequency, the music comes effortlessly. You don't force the station, you align with it. The call is invitation, not command. But here's the thing, no one can make you answer the call. I can stand here and shout Bob Proctor's wisdom. You can nod, agree, even feel goosebumps. But unless you decide, unless you step into becoming, it will remain a nice idea that fades tomorrow. The hero's journey is not a lecture, it is a choice. And that choice is in front of you now. The fear of becoming. But let's be honest, answering the call is frightening. Because becoming means death, the death of the old self. Ethan must let go of the identity of scarce man. Maya must release the identity of unworthy woman. And you must bury the identity of chaser. That death feels terrifying because it is familiar. You've worn it like a second skin. Who will you be without the chase? This fear is natural. Every hero trembles at the threshold. But the trembling is proof you're on the edge of transformation. The promise of becoming here is the promise. On the other side of that fear is freedom. When you stop chasing money, you begin to embody abundance, and money flows. When you stop chasing love, you begin to embody worth, and love arrives. When you stop chasing freedom, you begin to embody sovereignty, and life responds. The chase was never the way. Becoming always was. The invitation to you. So now, I turn to you. Look at your life. Where have you been chasing? Where have you been running so hard that your soul can't breathe? Where have you mistaken exhaustion for progress? This is your call. This is your threshold. This is your chance to step off the treadmill and step into alignment. The door is open. The choice is yours. The new problem, but beware. The call is not the end. It is the beginning. Ethan hears the call, but the next morning, his habits pull him back. Maya feels the call, but loneliness tempts her to reach again. You will hear this call, and tomorrow the world will try to drag you back into chasing. That is the new problem. Answering the call once is not enough. You must answer it daily, with thoughts, feelings, and actions aligned. And that is what we will face next. The trials, the tests, the transformation that turns becoming into reality. Answering the call is never the end. It is the beginning. When you first hear the truth that you must stop chasing and start becoming, it feels like revelation. It feels powerful, freeing. But then morning comes, and with morning comes resistance. The old self fights to survive. Habits cling like chains, doubt whispers, fear prowls. And this is where the hero is tested. The first trial, the battlefield of thought. Everything begins in thought. Your mind is not just a storage room of memories. It is a broadcasting tower. What you think consistently, you project into the world. Ethan discovers this when he tries to shift his identity. He writes in his journal, "I am wealthy." But the old voice laughs back, "No, you're not. Look at your bills." Every affirmation he writes feels like a lie. And here lies the first trial, staying faithful to a thought before there is evidence. Thoughts are seeds. They don't sprout instantly. But if you abandon them too soon, you never see the harvest. So Ethan learns to repeat, not as a desperate wish, but as a calm truth. I am wealthy in mind first. My life will reflect it second. Thoughts held long enough bend reality. The second trial, the storm of feeling. But thought alone is not enough. You can't think abundance while feeling fear. You can't think love while drowning in insecurity. You can't think freedom while feeling trapped. This is Maya's battle. She looks in the mirror and whispers, "I am loved." But her stomach twists. Her chest feels heavy. Her emotions betray her words. Here lies the second trial, teaching your body to feel what your mind declares. Maya learns a practice. Each night, she imagines not the absence of love, but the presence of it. She closes her eyes and sees someone holding her, whispering, "I choose you." She breathes until her body feels it as real. At first, it feels fake. But night after night, her nervous system begins to believe. The body cannot distinguish vividly imagined feelings from reality, and soon the emotions shift. When feeling aligns with thought, energy multiplies. The third trial, the test of action. But even thoughts and feelings collapse without action. You cannot think wealth, feel wealth, and then act in scarcity. You cannot think love, feel love, and then act in desperation. You cannot think freedom, feel freedom, and then act like a prisoner. This is where most fail. They believe alignment means sitting and waiting. No, alignment is when your actions reflect the identity you are claiming. Ethan begins small. Instead of hoarding in fear, he tips generously. Instead of avoiding investments, he studies them daily. He acts as though wealth is his natural state. Maya begins small. Instead of chasing texts, she sets boundaries. Instead of bending to be chosen, she chooses herself. She acts as though she is already worthy of love, and the world responds. Not instantly, not with fireworks, but slowly, subtly, doors begin to open. People respond differently. Opportunities appear. Because when thought, feeling, and action align, reality cannot resist. The resistance of the old self. But let me be clear, the old self does not die easily. Ethan still hears the voice of scarcity when bills arrive. Maya still feels the sting of loneliness when nights are quiet. You will still feel the pull of chasing, the itch to prove, the temptation to return to what you know. This resistance is not failure. It is proof of growth. Every hero must face the dragon, and the dragon is not the world outside, it is the old self inside. The question is not whether resistance comes. The question is whether you keep walking despite it. The mentor's reminder. Imagine Bob Proctor standing before you, his voice steady, his eyes piercing. Don't confuse activity with progress. Don't mistake chasing for creating. The world doesn't respond to what you wish. It responds to who you are. Change the image of yourself, and the results must change. This is not inspiration, it is law, the transformation in motion. Slowly, the shifts compound. Ethan notices he no longer panics at every bill. His mind begins to look for opportunities instead of obstacles. He starts to feel wealthy, not just in numbers, but in spirit. And soon, wealth flows more easily because he carries the posture of a wealthy man. Maya notices she no longer bends her voice to please. She speaks with calm, with certainty, and people respond to her differently, not because she begged, but because she radiates. And you begin to notice small cracks in your old identity, a moment when you pause before chasing, a moment when you speak as though it's already yours, a moment when you act from faith instead of fear. These are not accidents, these are signs of becoming, the new identity. Here is the core of the process. Thoughts. What do I consistently tell myself about who I am? Feelings. What do I allow myself to experience now, before evidence? Actions. What behaviors align with the person I claim to be? When all three point in the same direction, you are no longer wishing. You are no longer chasing. You are becoming. And the world always, without exception, conforms to who you become, the hero's death and rebirth. But let's not sugarcoat it. To become the new self, the old self must die. Ethan mourns the identity of the hustler who measured worth by hours. Maya grieves the identity of the pleaser who thought love was earned by sacrifice. You will feel the ache of letting go of who you were. This is the death every hero faces, the death of the false self. But on the other side of that death is rebirth, and rebirth means freedom, the edge of the climax. Now the hero stands transformed, not fully but undeniably changed. Ethan feels abundance, Maya feels worth. You begin to feel alignment stirring in your bones. But one final test remains, because even when thoughts, feelings, and actions align, one trap can undo it all. Attachment, the temptation to cling, to demand results, to measure too soon. This is the last trial, and it is the one we must face in the final chapter. Every hero's journey has a climax, a moment where the old self is gone, the trials have been faced, and the truth burns so brightly that it cannot be denied. And you, right now, stand in that moment. You have run the miles. You have felt the weight of chasing. You have stared into the mirror of exhaustion, and here you are, still standing, still listening, still ready. That alone is proof. Proof that something in you refuses to die. Proof that the hero in you has always been alive, waiting for this awakening. The final test. Detachment. But before you step fully into becoming, one last dragon waits at the gate. It is not fear, it is not doubt, it is attachment, the need for proof, the obsession with outcome, the hunger for instant results. Even after aligning thoughts, feelings, and actions, you may still fall into the trap of measuring too soon, of asking, why isn't it here yet? And in that moment, you slip back into chasing. But here lies the paradox. The moment you no longer need it, the moment you are whole without it, that is the moment it comes. This is not surrender in weakness. This is surrender in power. Detachment is not indifference, it is confidence. It is standing tall in the identity you have chosen and refusing to beg for what already belongs to you. Ethan's rebirth. Ethan, the man who once chased money, now walks differently. He does not clutch at every dollar. He tips with ease. He invests without panic. He no longer wakes in fear of scarcity because wealth is no longer something he pursues. It is who he is. And when he no longer begged, money flowed. When he no longer feared, opportunities found him. His wealth was not created from chasing, it was drawn in by becoming. Maya's rebirth. Maya, the woman who once begged for love, now radiates it. She no longer waits by the phone. She no longer bends her soul to be chosen. She stands in her worth, and her presence alone is magnetic. And then love appears, not as a chase, not as a prize, but as a mirror, reflecting who she already became. Love didn't come when she begged for it. It came when she embodied it. Your rebirth. And now, it is your turn. You have been chasing money, love, respect, freedom. You have been running until your soul grew tired. But the chase ends here, because now you know the truth. You don't attract by wishing. You attract by becoming. When your thoughts align with abundance, your feelings align with joy, your actions align with worth, you become the kind of person who already lives the life you want. And from there, attraction is not effort, it is law. This is your rebirth, not tomorrow, not someday, now. The call to the new world. The world does not need more chasers. It does not need more beggars, more hustlers, more souls running on empty. The world needs people who have become, people who radiate what they desire, people who embody the wealth, the love, the freedom they once chased. And that person can be you if you choose it. This is not theory. This is not someday. This is the moment, right here, right now. The hero's crown. You began this journey exhausted, running, empty. Now you stand crowned, not with applause, not with possessions, but with identity. And identity is the root of destiny. The crown of the hero is not given by the world. It is forged in the fire of becoming. And today, you have stepped into that fire. You are no longer a chaser. You are an attractor. You are no longer begging. You are becoming the benediction. So hear these words. You are enough. Not because the world has proven it yet, but because you have chosen it now. The chase ends. The becoming begins. And when you walk in this new identity, life will respond. Opportunities will appear. Love will reflect, wealth will flow, not because you chased harder, but because you finally stood still, whole, radiant, and let it come. This is the moment of your return. This is the power of becoming. The story is not over, it has just begun. If you are still here, I want you to understand something. You are not the same person who pressed play. Most people quit before the breakthrough. Most people turn away when the truth gets uncomfortable. But you didn't. You stayed. You walked the whole journey. That alone proves you are ready for more. And now it's time to seal what you've learned, not just with thought, not just with feeling, but with action. Hit the like button right now, not for me, but as a declaration to yourself. The chase ends here. Make it your first act of becoming. Click subscribe, because becoming isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily alignment. Channel will remind you, challenge you, and walk with you as you build the life you were born to attract. And then, in the comments, I want you to write these exact words. I choose to attract, not chase. Write it boldly. Write it as a vow. Write it as the first line of your new story. When you do, you're not just typing words on a screen. You're impressing the truth into your subconscious. You're stepping into identity. You're joining a community of others who refuse to keep running and have chosen to stand, to become, to attract. Remember, wishing changes nothing, chasing exhausts you, but becoming changes everything. So take the step, mark the moment, say it out loud with your actions. Like, subscribe, comment, because your new life doesn't start tomorrow. It starts the moment you decide to become, and that moment is now.